what do you see a lot that buyers could prepare better for that's like usually a problem or something in their process?
So Randy, I've got to ask you, so what's the number one thing that gripes you about lenders?
I think that's a perfect time to transition into the NAR speech. Everyone's talking about it right now. All right, today we're sitting down with Ricky Davis, who is over the top 1% in the whole entire United States for loan originations. And I just want to ask him some good questions to help some home buyers out. But also, we kind of have an interesting story of how we met. Ricky, you want to tell them how we met?
Yeah, so interesting how we met. We met back in 2018. I bumped into you at a P.F. Chang's bar at the LAX airport. We were both headed to Fiji, and so I was making my way from Indianapolis to LAX, from LAX out there to the main islands, and sitting there having a drink, talking to people, and you came up and we're sitting a few guys down, and we were just all kind of chatting and BSing around, and we found out we were going to the same Tony Robbins seminar. We were going out there for the Health and Life Mastery session out there in Fiji, and once we met up there, we had a great time out there in Fiji, got to meet people all over the world, and we've been kicking it ever since.
Yeah, I think we started off as like accountability buddies or something like that. And then, we had Miriam as well. Yeah. She kind of lied a couple of times.
A lawyer from Wall Street, imagine that.
Yeah. And then we just held to it. And then I don't know, it's like anyway, we just built a good friendship through that. And then you weren't even in loans at that point, right?
Right.
Yeah, and then you got into it a little bit after that. That was a cool journey. Like, tell them about that. How was the beginning of that?
Yeah. So one of the common threads that has kind of united us, though, is that we both have an entrepreneurial-minded spirit, right? And so I was looking for that next project to get into in life. I had been in electrical distribution for about a decade, and I was just ready for something new. I didn't know what it was, but I was ready for something new. And so I get online. I'm looking at this franchise, and it was on this company called FranchiseGator.com, and there was like a Subway and this other equally recognizable name. And I buy into this company that was a lending company. They said, hey, you give us $20,000 and we're going to build this website for you. You're going to get this NMLS license, like all this stuff, and you're going to go and sell business loans and real estate loans. Like, it's going to be the greatest thing ever. And it turns out it was a scam. And so It was my last $20,000, and it was a very humbling moment in life because I gave $20,000 for this, and all I had left was this NMLS license, and I had to figure out what to do with it. And so a lot of other people that were scammed too, kind of reading online, they ended up going and using that NMLS license, which is a mortgage loan originator license. They used it to go and supply the community with loans for their primary residences and their investment properties. So I thought, well, I'm down $20,000. I better go ahead and use this and write some loans and figure out how to get my money back where it needs to be.
I remember that. In the beginning, wasn't so easy either, was it?
No, it was tough, man, because just like in real estate on the realtor side, it's 100% commission based. And so the first few months, I wasn't even making enough money to go and pay my rent and pay my car payment at the time.
Yeah.
I remember selling things. I sold all my TVs at one point in time, and then I sold my couch. I remember one time I was taking somebody flying. I fly airplanes on the side too, and in order to pay for the gas for the plane, I sold my dining room table on the way to the airport.
I do remember that. That's awesome.
Yeah, but it was great times, and it was a very humbling moment to experience right before I went and really took off in the mortgage industry, and it was really a great way to kind of understand that sometimes when you're buying a home, it gets tough. Sometimes financially it gets tight for folks, and it was just great to go through that process looking back because it really prepared me from where I'm at today.
I agree 100%. So tell them about that though. Where are you at today?
Yeah, so just like everybody, right? We have to start from the bottom, work our way up. So I started out writing loans. I closed my first few loans in November of 2019. So fast forward to today, I actually own my own broker shop. So I went and worked for a few retail mortgage companies, and then I decided it's time for me to go out on my own and start my own thing. So right after my wife and I got married, we got back from our honeymoon, and the second day after back from the honeymoon, I quit my job. and so a lady by the name of Maddie, she joined my team. She's employee number one. She's been great to work with. And her and I started this business, and so we're doing great right now. We're growing leaps and bounds. March has been our best month yet, And the future's bright for us, man. We're super excited.
Nice. And so what's some of your goals this year to hit?
Well, so the big goals this year, not necessarily production, but it's getting the systems and the processes down.
Yeah.
You know, like one of my favorite things that Maddie was able to accomplish is that when a loan closes, our vendor automatically gets emailed to go ahead and get the post-closing gift together for the buyer.
Nice.
And we're dialing things in so that like exactly 2 weeks after that loan closes, that the post-closing gift shows up on their doorstep. You know, I'm doing things like, I don't want to send out Happy Columbus Day emails to my borrowers through my CRM. I want to send out really tangible things that can help my buyers. So I'm doing things like making sure that a few days before that first-time home buyer starts to get junk mail, that they actually get an email from me or a video that says, hey, beware, the junk mail's coming, here's what it looks like, don't get scammed. And those are the things I'm really passionate about the first year. And I know it's going to set us up for success.
Well, and also you were telling me the other day about how fast you were getting loans like approved. Is that right? Like, tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm in Indianapolis. I'm from Indiana. And the industry standard has been to close loans in about 30 to 35 days. We're setting the new standard in our state, and we want to be closing loans consistently in 2 weeks. Refinances, we're closing those in about a week and a half.
Wow.
And when you take a 30-day process and you shrink it down to a week and a half, every little minute counts. And it's been fun to kind of look at all of those little things and say, okay, where can we shave off half a day here? How can we improve the experience? And you know, the mortgage experience in itself is like a two-star thing. Like nobody wants to get a mortgage. It's not that fun.
Yeah.
But if you can go and say, hey, we're going to just rip the Band-Aid off, get you on your way and back into your life, like it's a better thing for everybody.
And that is so huge. I know that you're kind of almost downplaying that a little bit, but I know that from working from buyers on this side, there's nothing worse than a loan officer that gets the documents prepared the day before it needs to be done. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just stressful and emotional wreck for the buyers, the sellers, everyone involved. We don't even know if this is going to get approved or not. And it's like 2 days before closing. Yeah. So it's urgency on that is very big.
And using technology to get that done is really what's helped propel us.
Is that one of the reasons why you started your own brokerage, so you can just kind of be in more control of all of that?
Yeah. So what you find is with a retail mortgage company, you know, like a big national brand company, they've got their own software. They make their own software. And so a lot of times they're slow to adopt new technology because they don't want to give up the program that they've spent millions and millions of dollars to create. But as a mortgage broker, I'm able to go and handpick whatever program I want to use. So as technology evolves, my company's not staying stagnant and saying, hey, we're like emotionally tied or financially tied to this product here. We're able to just pivot and use a different product altogether. And so leaps and bounds, we have made a lot of progress just on that kind of stuff.
That's fantastic. No wonder why you're killing it fast, right?
Yeah.
But okay, so let's switch gears a little bit. So for the buyers, what do you see a lot that buyers could prepare better for that's like usually a problem or something in their process?
Yeah, so a lot of times people just don't understand what their mortgage strategy should be, okay? And you don't hear people say that, a mortgage strategy. And it's so important because the lowest rate doesn't help out the borrowers the most. The best strategy does. I'm not selling that to anybody, but I'm telling you, it's the truth. Yeah. You know, like I'll give you an example. I've got a first-time home buyer program in Indiana to where the buyer can put 1% down with a conventional loan. But, you know, if the FHA interest rate is a little lower, it might sound better just because you're measuring like an interest rate, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like you would think the lower one's the better. But if the fees are higher, the mortgage insurance is higher, the terms of the loan aren't as good, the slightly higher interest rate with a conventional loan is actually much better. And from an overall wealth accumulation standpoint, it sets these people up. Because one of the things I'm really passionate about is when that first-time home buyer closes on the loan, you don't want to wipe out their savings account for the down payment. You want to make sure they've got a cushion there to where when the hot water heater goes out or the furnace or air conditioning goes out, they're not falling back on the credit cards for that stuff. They're saying, you know what, I can pay cash for this and I can shop this around and see who's going to give me the best discount because I'm paying cash.
Well, there's two things on that. First off, that's why we call you Ricky Dollars, because you're obviously really good with money and numbers. But secondly, we always, as real estate agents, always say you need to go talk to a loan officer. But that was a very good explanation on why they need to. Because even that, you could already tell there's just so many things and factors for that individual family on what's really going to work best. You know what I mean? What would you say are some things that could steer them away from some problems? Like, what are some things they could have prepared and ready, or what are like 3 things they can have that could help them be ready for you?
Yeah, so 3 things. I think it's figure out what you want your budget to be, you know, and a lot of times if you don't know what your budget is, think about how much you're paying in rent. You know, are you paying $2,500 a month in rent? How does that feel? Do you have money left over? Is $2,500 tight? But I always tell people the government will let you borrow more money than you probably should. So if we're talking about preparing for the mortgage process or the home buying process, think about what your budget is, because there's no right or wrong answer. It's just how you want to live your lifestyle. Maybe you want to be the guy that goes on 4 vacations a year. Maybe you're the homebody that wants to splurge on the house and you don't mind the extra mortgage payment. But think about your budget. You know, that's important. I think the second thing is keep an eye on your money. You know, Ricky Dollars, there we go. But like, make sure that if you are putting $20,000 down on the house, where's that money at? Is it already in the bank account? Is it under a mattress? Where is it at? But it needs to be in a bank account. It needs to be sourced. We need to know where it's at, and don't move it around. So make sure you've got your money right. And then I think the third thing is make sure that you go and you line up your team, you know, like your professional team, your home inspector, your real estate agent, your lender. Like, interview those people and make sure you've got a rock star group of professionals that you're working with. Because the home buying process can be scary, but if you have the right people to trust and fall back on, you're going to be set up for success.
I think that's a perfect time to transition into the NAR speech. Everyone's talking about it right now, but I think that's a perfect way to explain, you know, why the buyers do need to throw in some coin, you know, for the right buyer's agent if they are experienced and they bring that team with them, right? What are some of your thoughts on that? How do you see some of this playing out?
Well, I think it's definitely going to shake up the industry. You know, you think about the mortgage industry back in 2008, 2009, the government really clamped down on a lot of the commissions in the mortgage industry, and the whole game changed. And it changed for the better, in my opinion. I think this is something very similar, and I think there's a lot of uncertainty right now for some folks, but it's very important that real estate agents communicate the value to their buyers, also to the sellers. And I think you just set the expectation up front with your buyers to say, hey, you know, these are the services that I provide, and I'm willing to do that. You know, I'm willing to help you out. I'll give you an example, man. I remember the first house I ever sold. Okay, I wasn't even in the mortgage industry, but the first house I ever sold, all I knew was I wanted to get a deal, right? So I interviewed a couple real estate agents, and I beat them all up on their commission. I went with the cheapest person, okay? I don't remember exactly what the numbers were, but I went with the cheapest person, and the house didn't sell. I got the cheap results. She didn't market the house. She didn't do any open houses. She didn't give me any guidance on preparing the house or laying out the furniture. It was a separation special, so the house totally looked like a bachelor pad, right? Like, it wasn't warm and fuzzy for the buyers. Yeah. So the house doesn't sell, stays on the market all winter. We pull it off the market, nothing happens. I get referred to a good agent, a guy named Todd Ferris. Great guy. I've loved this guy, man. I have so much respect for him. Todd comes over to my house. I start beating him up on the commission too. And he says, no, I'm worth it. I'm going to do all these extra things for you. I'm worth my full commission, and I give you my word, I'm going to sell this house. Todd sold my house. And not only that, but Todd went and did all the things he said he was going to do. And while I was out in Vegas, I got an offer, and he knew damn well not to tell me about it while I was in Vegas. He waited until I got back because he probably thought I was going to do something dumb, you know, and he was totally right. Like, he not only was watching out for me, like, with the house, but he was watching out for me as a person. I was some 28, 29-year-old kid, and I was probably going to do something foolish knowing that I was about to get the biggest, you know, real estate check so far in my life. Yeah. And he knew better than to tell me while I was out in Vegas. Yeah. So, you know, I think about that experience in life, and if you really measured it apples to apples, the real estate agent that was going to charge me more commission saved me a lot more money.
Yes.
And kind of back to the interest rate thing, where sometimes people just look at like the interest rate number and they don't look at the big picture. You can really sometimes get lost in the weeds there, confused on what's really the best deal. So, you know, my recommendation to everybody is find the best real estate agent, find the best professional, let them make their commission, their earning, and they're going to go and probably pay for themselves tenfold.
Love it. That's awesome. So you mentioned interest there. Let's stay on that for a little bit.
Okay.
So like, first off, I think it's crazy. I mean, it sounds wild because we came from like a 3% interest world for a little bit. But the average interest rate over all of like, whatever, 50 years, I can't remember this stat I saw, what is it, like 8.5%? You know, there was times, my mom bought a house for 11.9% interest rate.
Probably thought she was getting a deal at the time.
Yeah, and she got in the house. That's the most important thing, right? I mean, she needed a house, you know, so I think that it, you know, coming from that world, that's what makes it crazy. But what are some of your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think a lot of folks that started becoming aware of real estate when interest rates were super low, like they're just disappointed. Like all they thought they knew was 3% or 4%, and now they're hearing 7 or 8, and it doesn't make any sense to them. I think it's needed. You know, I don't know about the specific market here, but I can definitely tell you in Indianapolis, affordability is becoming a huge issue.
Yeah,
we do need to slow down appreciation of homes, and I get it. Like home values are great in the sense of when they appreciate, people are getting more equity in their home. But at the rate it's going right now, like affordability is going to be out the window, and so we do need to kind of tap the brakes on that a little bit. We don't need a depression by any means, but we can't have homes appreciate 10 or 15% a year forever because they're going to become so unaffordable.
Yeah.
So, you know, the way the government's doing that is thereby increasing interest rates. But that's back to the whole point about making sure you have the right mortgage strategy in place. You know, I tell a lot of folks I'm helping right now, hey, you know, with you buying right now, you're going to catch a refi, maybe two. The thing that you want to do is make sure you don't over refinance your house. You know, every time you do that, you're taking a little bit of equity out of that house, and you want to make sure that you're managing those funds correctly. But again, you know, like if you're just now starting a family and you need to buy a house, like don't wait. Go buy the house, enjoy your life. You might have 5 years left and not even realize it. Do you want to spend the last 5 of them in an apartment?
Right.
Like, go enjoy your life. Like you don't know what's going to be there tomorrow. And I think really, as long as you're not buying a house saying, hey, I'm going to sell this thing in 6 or 12 or 18 months, you're going to be okay. Because if you just have time in the real estate game, overall it always goes up.
Yeah.
So that's how you stay protected.
I agree 100%. Why do you like being a mortgage broker instead of where you came from?
What's my favorite part about being a mortgage broker instead of a full-time retail lender?
Yeah.
Oh man, I love it. Here's why. So whenever mortgage companies go and price out their loans, sometimes they've got hot pricing, sometimes they're out of market. As a mortgage broker, I shop about 10 to 15 different lenders, and I'm going to go and pick out the one that's got the best rates and the best service. And time after time, I see myself saving the clients money on both their closing costs and their interest rates.
I love that.
The other nice thing that's great about it too is that when a lender can't get a deal done, maybe because their underwriters are being too picky or whatever it might be, I'll switch the loan to a different lender. I had one of those that closed today actually. I had an underwriter throw out a guideline. He says, I want to see a complete utility statement with the buyer paying it out of their own bank account. And I'm like, show me the guidelines where that's a thing. That is not a guideline. Like that is you just coming up with your own shit. Dude, I switched that loan to another company. I told them what the issue was. I said, hey, this guy's over conditioning this file. Here's what it is. Will you take it? And they're like, absolutely. We closed it in a week, and that lady basically saved 2 weeks of time versus if I were stuck in retail world where I would have just had to go and tell her, hey, you got to go somewhere else. You got to wait a month.
That's massive.
Dude, it's great. It's great.
So what's the future hold for your mortgage company?
Yeah, so the future for Sullivan Home Loans is this. You know, right now we're in Indiana or Indianapolis specifically, but our second branch in Southern Indiana is opening in just a few weeks, and we're actually making our way out to other states. So Sullivan Home Loans will be out in Phoenix, Arizona this summer. We're super excited about it too.
And we can't wait to have you, by the way, especially all the stuff you just talked about. I'm sure the audience can already tell you'd be the right person to help you get along.
So Randy, I've got to ask you, so what's the number one thing that gripes you about lenders?
Oh, that's easy, man. When we don't close on time.
Closing on time?
Yeah, every single time. That's the number one thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah, or whenever like I give them a lead and they just don't even reach out, they don't do anything to them. And to me, I'm like, I alley-ooped you to them so you can get them pre-qualified so I know what I'm working with. And they're just like slow to do it or something. Yeah, that's actually another thing is when they're really slow. I need someone fast because I like to be on it. I like to be able to provide them value. So, you know, I like someone quick and fast.
Absolutely, absolutely. So when you're working with lenders, Randy, have you guys talked to each other about how you want to share information, like the leads or the referrals? Do you guys have a set process in place for that?
Not 100%.
I've noticed in Indiana, a lot of times, I've got a guy I work with, his name's Josh. We've really perfected the art of like a 3-way text with the buyers, and it almost serves as like a group chat of, hey, here's where we're at in the process. Maybe the buyers ghosted me a little bit, but they're wanting to go see houses, and Josh is able to jump back in there and say, hey, by the way, have you talked to Rick yet, or any lender? You know, and like we're able to kind of keep some accountability on there. And then the same, like I 100% will forget those texts sometimes. And like when they go and pop up with another reply, I'm like, oh crap, I got to go jump on this, you know, because the phone's always ringing. So you're always trying to stay on top of that.
And that's why we can't wait to have you in Scottsdale, because no, we like to do that as well. And at the end of the day, who really wins out of that? It's the client. I mean, we're just then, you know, everyone gets busy with family, you know, there's always so much going on that really, if we could stay in front of them and get them to do the right thing, it just helps us all out anyways, you know.
If you had to give an hour block here of when your lender should be working throughout the week, what would those times be?
The morning.
The morning?
Yeah.
Why?
Because in the morning is whenever all the shit happens, I feel like.
Absolutely.
What do you think?
I can say what I can think, but I'll tell you what I feel. I feel like it's a 24/7 gig, man.
Okay, yeah, you got me. I was like, what?
And here's why. Sometimes we're working with people that maybe they work the night shift. They're going to need to talk to somebody at 5 in the morning or 6 in the morning. Maybe 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock at night too. Maybe you've got somebody that can only talk nights and weekends. You never really know. But the thing about our industry, right, is we're always meeting them at their level. We're always meeting the client
100%.
at their level.
Yeah, I mean, talking about that, even whenever you and I were both newer in the industry, we'd go out for a drink, and I remember both of us would be sitting there texting or on the phone with someone, you know what I mean? But we're always in service of our clients, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And but you hit the nail on the head. I mean, I can't stand working with a loan officer that doesn't pick up the phone as fast or as much as me. I mean, that is pretty much the number one priority. That's how we get paid, and that's also how we service them.
Absolutely, yeah. So what's on the future for you? What's on the horizon?
Well, this is the first time we're recording here, so
lucky
you.
Thank you, by the way.
But it's our little office now, and you know, we almost might outgrow it already. We have 3 agents potentially coming on board right now. We're just being very, very cautious with who we hire, because I want them to fit exactly my culture and exactly what I want. And also, I put a lot of time in these people. Right now, I'm hiring brand new agents typically, right? And so I'm going to spend a ton of time training and developing them the way I like to do it, right?
Yeah.
And so we really have to get along as people, because we're going to spend a lot of time together. And that's the first year. And then after there, we're going to grow as fast as we can.
I love it. You know, it's all about laying a good foundation. And when you build a house of bricks, you're going to be much more successful. You know, like we're looking at our growth in March. We did, for 2 months in a row, we went 2.5 times the volume from the previous month. And we hit capacity. And we realized, hey, we can't continue to grow 250% every month. Like, we've got to slow it down here real quick. We got to hire more people. We got to get them trained. We got to make sure our processes are right. That way our service levels are where they need to be. And it's such a beautiful thing. And I think that's, more than anything, Randy, I think that's what you and I really thrive off of. We love creating those environments. You know, for guys like you and I, it's not bringing in more customers. We love bringing in customers. But for you and I think the challenge and the grind is actually going building the systems, right?
100%. I love building teams, right?
Yeah.
There's just something about building a great team that I just love. You know, it's like whenever I do have 20, 30 agents and we're all a big, nice culture, like that's what I love. You know, that's our backgrounds. We're used to being good team leaders, you know what I mean? So I can't wait to do that in real estate.
I love it. I was thinking about it. So my first loan officer that we hired with the team, he got licensed in December, and I was telling him, I said, hey, when I got licensed in like July. I joined a mortgage company in August, and I closed my first 3 loans like right around Thanksgiving. And this guy, you know, and everybody's always trying to be better than the boss, right? This guy gets his license the first week of December, and he gets a deal the same day. Like, it was a lead. I ended up closing it in my NMLS number, but like he found a deal the same day. And I'm like, hey, you know, like, we got to get your license sponsored by our company first, but thanks for sending me the client, you know, I'll get him taken care of. But I was like, wow, this guy got his deal the first day. And then in January, he closed deals. In February, he closed like 4. And I'm like, wow, like this guy's crushing it. And it's just so fun to see.
But is it the same in your line of work as well, like in your side of it, that there's such a lack in training? Like, what do you see there?
Yeah, there is usually a lack of training in the industry. I know when I first started in the mortgage space, I wanted to know somebody's firm process. And people kept telling me, oh, you just got to find your own way. Like, I don't have a way. Let me just go with your way, and then I'll go and make some changes
Yes.
after that. Like, I don't want to go and figure it out on my own.
Yeah.
And so what we're doing at Sullivan Home Loans is we want to make sure we're having a very consistent experience for folks. And in order to do that, I got to make sure all of my team is running the same play every single day. And when we do that, we're less likely to drop the ball. We're more consistent with the buyer, and it drives a better customer experience.
It's a win-win all the way across the board, right?
Yeah.
I mean, your loan officers are going to make more money, your clients are going to be happier, you're going to get more business from it, right? It's the same on our side. Agents, I mean, I went to 3 different brokerages and I love them, but it's really hard to find proper training, in my opinion, in the real estate side of it, right? In the realtor side. So that's what I want to provide. I want to do a fantastic job training these agents,
Yeah.
and give them that one-on-one or whatever that I didn't really feel like I got.
That's so huge right there. And do it without taking all their commission either.
Right.
You know, like I know back in my market, the folks that have the best training typically are going to take the highest commission splits. And that's probably how the game goes to an extent. But I look at my new guy, Nick, and I know because we're a mortgage broker rather than like a retail lender, I've got more products for him to sell. One of his loans that he closed last month was with a bridge loan, is what it's called. And because of that, the real estate agent themselves had 3 deals that all closed that they got paid on. And it was this bridge loan product that actually got them to the closing table versus waiting for one of the houses to go under contract.
That's fantastic.
Oh yeah, and that lady loves Nick now. And Nick doesn't go and try to BS this person and say, hey, I'm the best loan officer ever. He just says, look, I'm the new guy, I'm learning, I got this guy Rick that's working with me, but we're gonna go and try our best, and whatever we can do to help out, we're gonna go for it.
I love that you said that. My biggest thing that I always tell new agents, right? Whenever I was new, I just didn't lie about it. I'm like, if they have something in a house, I'm just like, I don't know, but I can get you the answer. You know what I mean? And people just love the honesty, because so many real estate agents, and it sounds like loan officers as well, they just walk around saying, I'm the best and I know this. Oh yeah, and they're just too afraid to be honest, right? It's like, I don't know, but I promise you I'll figure that out, and I will definitely let you know. What's your number? I'll be right back with you, right? You know, it's like, I don't know it, but I will be the source of information for you, and I'll get the best answer for you.
And Warren Buffett said it best. He says, it takes years to build a reputation. It takes seconds to kill it. Yeah. And when you go around acting like you're somebody that you're not, sooner or later people are going to catch that. You know? So if you just be real with people and honest, even if they don't like what you're saying, a lot of times you're still going to appreciate the honesty.
I mean, so many of my first deals were literally because people were like, you're honest. I don't see that very often. Let's work together.
Yeah.
Well, that's it, Ricky, and thank you very much for coming by Scottsdale. If you guys are looking to buy a home in the Scottsdale area, make sure to hit me up, and make sure to watch out for Ricky, because he will be here very soon.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me today, Randy. I appreciate it.
And as always, if you found value in this video, go ahead and like and subscribe below.